finished up a little bit of my long-term storage, getting that put away and cleaned up. And now what I wanted to do was just kind of start processing some of our harvest from this past summer and get some of our frozen tomatoes thawed out. So we have accumulated quite a bit, and I'm just going to go ahead and get these. Some of these, like my oxheart, I went ahead and cut them in half and cored them. And so those are going to be much easier to process, but nonetheless, you know, you can still even throw them in whole and do them later on once they thaw out. So I've got some Romas here, our oxhearts, and then our cherry tomatoes. It is just a quicker way, and these I just cut in half, poured them. These are my other Romas that are kind of mixed in with these. But yeah, it just makes a nice little quick, get them, you know, in the freezer, and I don't have to process them right then and there. So I'm just going to dump these in the various bowls and start getting them thawed out. So you can see those Romas there. And I'm going to continue to keep my light tomatoes together as much as possible. Go ahead and remove any of my green tomatoes. All right, so I've got my cherry tomatoes, my Romas, and there's a couple other varieties in there, and then the oxheart. So we will be back in the morning to show you what we're going to do next in order to get these processed. Good morning, Real and Raw. It is the next day. It's going to rain a little bit today, I think, on and off. And we are expecting the next couple days of in the teens weather. So we have decided that we're going to start our processing of our harvest this week. One thing that we did this year was we increased our lighting in our kitchen. And Andy had installed some canned lights over our countertops. And we gave it a little bit of a, refreshing with some paint. And so we're excited to be able to see a lot better in our kitchen. So, I'm going to go ahead and get these in the roaster and we'll get started. We're going to put them on 300, between 300, 350, and just kind of keep our eye on them as they reduce down. So what I might end up doing is I might put all of these three varieties in their own mixture, and then I'll do these oxhearts. I'll roast these like I did on the previous video. We will keep you along our ride of processing, and going to process our pumpkins that we bought from one of our local farmers market in North Georgia here, and get those processed as well. So join us. Okay, we are going to keep our roaster over here while this cooks down. So Andy has a larger part of the kitchen because he's got pumpkins all cut up over there. So what a lot of people will do is after they come from the harvest and they put these in the freezer, what you want to do is you want to cut if you can, you want to cut off all of the green. So you want to core them, cut off the leaves, all of that. And sometimes I'm in a rush and I might just throw them in the bag. But overall, you just really want to make sure that you've got the greens cut off. And if you can, cut them in half. It does make it easier. So what I'm going to do for now is I'm just going to get this set up to 300. Keep my eye on it. And just start adding them in here. Again, these have been thawing overnight, and so I'm pretty excited about that because I didn't have to worry about having this roaster on all night. So these here don't have any green on them, so I'm just going to go ahead and dump those in. And then I'm going to get some scissors and cut off any of the remaining green. If all goes well, I will take these skins off, but I may not. And I haven't done that in the past, and it tasted different, but it was still fine. And so for a quick processing, I may not do that. I'm not sure yet. These tomatoes are still freezing to the touch. I think scissors just are so much better and easier to work with on a lot of processing that we're doing. Continue to move through these and get the rest of these tomatoes in here. These are our baby Romas that we just added. So what I'm going to do is just keep an eye on these and get these to roast in here as long as it takes. And start getting them reduced down a little bit. Now I really just have the cherry tomato skins left here, but you can see that I was able to remove quite a bit. Okay, we are back. We ran up to our property to just check on some of the firewood to see if we needed to restock the racks. And the tomatoes have cooked down nicely. I'm gonna leave them on for a little bit longer. You can see Andy in the back. He is done roasting the pumpkins. We've been letting them cool while we ran up to the property. We're back, and this is what we got. What he is doing is removing the skin. And I think in years past, we liked this whole quartering the pumpkins and roasting them. And really, I guess that's the only way you could do it because you can't can pumpkins. So that looks good.
Yep, that's all meat. all good meat. Good.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got some seeds too that we want to go ahead and save and plant those this year as well. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and continue to process the pumpkins, our tomato sauce, and then I'm going to go ahead and get some garlic roasted up to add to the tomato sauce. And I'll show you right here what I'm doing. So I did this with the Oxheart tomatoes earlier this year. And it's a lot easier than peeling the garlic. And this is why. This is the hard neck garlic because this doesn't store as long as soft neck, so I want to get through that. So I've got about a half a bag left. And what I like to do, and you may have seen this on the Oxheart video that I did, I have sat here and peeled garlic, as many of us have, but it's just nice to know that if I cut off this end, I can literally, when I roast it, I can squeeze it and that garlic will just pop right out and I don't have to worry about peeling it before I roast it. So you'll see that here in a minute. But basically what I'm going to do is get these on some parchment paper on a couple of pans and get these roasted up in the oven at 350.
I'm here getting some of these. We have this unique tree and it has little Hershey morsels. Not Hershey, they are Terrace morsels. It's a very fine tree that we have. That's because she's from Pennsylvania. She brought it down.
What's that? A Hershey tree. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to lay my tomatoes in here because I'm going to be roasting them, and I'm going to throw my garlic in there. And then on a separate tray, I'm going to go ahead and roast some garlic for my tomato sauce that I'm making, that I'm going to be canning. So since we left, I went ahead and put these in the fridge. Okay, you probably saw me make these on a previous video, so I'm not going to go through that whole process, but I'm going to go ahead and lay these tomatoes down on my foil-lined tray. I'm going to drizzle on some olive oil, and I'm going to add these garlic cloves onto the tray to roast with the tomatoes. And then I'm going to put them on a separate tray to add to my tomato sauce. Okay, now I'm just going to go ahead and get these Oxheart tomatoes roasted up. I just went ahead and I laid them on a foil-lined tray. I'm going to drizzle some olive oil on top of these. Okay, so what we have done is we have added 8 ingredients to our tomato sauce. I went ahead and I made the Oxheart tomatoes. I have this one in the fridge to eat later this week. And then we have our tomato sauce that I've been cooking for about 2 hours now. So it has reduced and is ready to put in the pressure canner. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try one last effort to get rid of the seeds rather than making the sauce with the seeds, because I'm not a big fan of that. And so this is just a cheap little food mill. And we tried this a couple of years ago, and it was not as easy as we had anticipated. But now that it's been cooked down and it's more of a sauce, I'm going to try it and see if I can get rid of those seeds. We have transferred our spaghetti sauce, pasta sauce, whatever you want to call it, into a smaller pot. And it has been cooking down for 2 hours. So we are ready. I have already put all the ingredients in and then cooked it for the 2 hours. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to take the seeds out with this food grinder. We used it, I think, 2 years ago, and we used it with a bigger, the full tomato to get the skin and the seeds off, and it just did not work as well as we wanted it to. But this year I'm going to use it because I've already cooked down and I've already taken off all my skin. from the larger tomatoes, but I still have these cherry tomatoes that have cooked with this. And so I just want to see if I have any results in putting it through here. So that is what I'm going to do. It's probably going to yield about 4 pints. The recipe is like 4 to 6 pints for 10 pounds of tomatoes. And I do not think that I had 10 pounds of tomatoes. And I didn't really weigh that because of all that water from the melting method or the defrosting method from when they were in the freezer. But, you know, you can eye these things. There's a great book that Ball Canning puts out, and I follow that when it comes to the tomato recipes for canning tomato sauce. So let's go ahead and get this going. This is a manual process. You can see my sauce is still hot. So I'm going to fill this up as much as I can. And it's pretty thick. So you can see it's already starting to put the sauce out of the funnel here. And so I'm just going to keep moving through this, and we'll see what we're able to yield. What you do is you put it in there, and then you turn this, and the pulp will come out here for the seeds, which seems to be happening. And that'll just fall into this bucket here. Not bucket, but this Tupperware bowl. So this is a manual process, and like I said, and it's pretty tedious. So I will show you the end result here in a little bit as I just get all of this through the funnel and see if we can maybe do like 2 times through here to get as much of the tomato sauce as we can and less of the seeds. So you can see this is, what does that say? This is 3 cups, pretty much exactly. And it's going to be less seeds, less pulp. So I like what this is doing. And I think that's the secret, is you want to make sure that you cook it down and then get the seeds and the pulp out. And it's funny, every year I learn something different when it comes to canning the tomato sauce. So, you know, everybody has their different ways of doing things. There's different tidbits that they provide on videos and things like that. So do your own research, but it is so worth having your own canned tomato sauce. This year I am flavoring it up more so I don't have to do as much when I do use it. And I'm looking forward to that because it will be ready to go. So I'm going to continue moving through this, okay? Wow. You want to taste it?
Sure.
Yes, no tasting prior. Now I'll let you taste. I didn't realize you snuck a taste in.
That's pretty good stuff. Have you tried it?
No, I want to try it.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to do my first taste test. Andy just did one. Wow.
It's got a lot of flavor.
What is that?
Well, it's not ragu, that's for sure. But it's also, like, I can taste a hint of what we had in our first sauce a few years ago that we didn't really care for. But then after that, I get the taste of the garlic and the other stuff that comes in. So it's a very good, fresh tasting sauce.
It's like burning my tongue a little bit.
Oh, it's acidic. It's very, spicy like.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like that taste.
Well, hey, you're only going to have like 3 jars of it, so you're good.
Okay. So I was able to yield a total of, what did I say, 6 cups of sauce. And this sauce has a bite to it, like Andy said, and I agree. It is, I used more garlic than I normally do. Well, I don't even use garlic, but I used more garlic in my recipe than what it said. I don't know if that's the issue, but it does have a bite, but it is good. And you know what? I can flavor it how I want as I'm making it later on. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get these pressure canned, and then that will be the end of processing these tomatoes. Okay. We have our tomato sauce in our jars, and we have our pressure canner waiting for this here to pop up, which it's getting ready to. And then once that pops up, we're going to go ahead and set the timer for 10 minutes. Okay, so that steam is coming out nice and strong now. So we're going to go ahead and set our timer for 10 minutes. Okay, see how strong that's coming out? Now we've got our 10 minutes set on our timer. While that is still steaming, we have still 3 more minutes. Just so you know, I was able to yield 3 pint-sized jars, and then I have a half a jar that I'm going to put in the fridge. Since that's already cooked and ready to go, I'll make some pasta with that one of these days this week. I went ahead and I added in 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, and I was just checking it. And made sure that my lids and my rings were sterilized just by boiling them. Not everybody boils them anymore, but I went ahead and I did that, and I heated up my jars. What's important is when you're making hot things to can is you want to make sure that you are putting your hot product in a hot jar. Put it on a cookie sheet and heated those up for about 15 minutes. So we're going to wait. We're almost there. We got 2 minutes left. Okay, now that this has had a full steam for 10 minutes, I'm just going to simply put this weight on over this little nozzle here. And what we're waiting on is for that to rock back and forth. It will start to just, go back and forth like this, kind of like get its little rhythm going. Okay, guys, see how that is rocking? We're going to wait a little bit, let it get its rhythm. And then overall, this process takes about 45 minutes to an hour. Okay, see how that's going back and forth pretty consistently? So now we're going to set the timer for about 20 minutes. And we'll keep our eye on it. Okay, guys, it has been our 20 minutes for the pint-sized jars that we have in here. And that's kind of the rule of thumb in a pressure canner. If you've got pint-sized jars, no matter how many you have in there, it is 20 minutes. And then for the quart-sized jars, it is 25 minutes, I believe. But look at your canning books and do your research, because it's always a learning experience. So we're going to go ahead and let these cool down. It's probably going to take, I would say, probably an hour. I'm not sure. But we will show you the finished product of the tomato sauce, all canned up and ready to go.
Puree and the pumpkin. So we are canning up, or we're bagging our puree, and we store this in the freezer because we're not allowed to can this. It's not safe to can. It's not safe. Not for you. Could get botulism. So what we do is we freeze it, and we're putting it into roughly 2-cup bags. They're a little bit over a pound for each bag.
So just write 2 cups on there, because I don't want to write pounds.
Yep. And then put it in the bag there. This is our last bit of it right here. Right? Oh no, I got to know how to half a pumpkin. Never mind. We're gonna have more than 6.